Welcome to the September edition of This Month in Payroll. I'm Rowan Geddes, the Australian lead for PwC's payroll consulting practice, and thank you for tuning in again to hear the latest in payroll news. In this edition, I will provide an update on leave entitlements for casual workers, the extension of portable long service leave in Victoria, an SG Amnesty update, and New Zealand's payday legislation. Casual workers are the hot topic at the moment, driven off the case that we shared an update about last month, Workpack versus Skeen. You may recall this is the case where truck driver Paul Skeen was seeking payment of unused annual leave from his employer, even though he had been employed and paid as a casual employee. In the case, the federal court found that Mr. Skeen was not a casual employee, even though he worked for his employer under a contract that classified him as one, and even though he received casual loading. Rather than being guided only by the wording of the contract, the federal court imposed a common law definition, questioning whether the nature of the employment reflected the essence of casualness. This essence of casualness generally consists of 5 characteristics: irregular work patterns, uncertainty, discontinuity, intermittency of work, and unpredictability. This focus on a common law definition of casual is a significant shift away from what has been a long-held understanding that if an employee's employment contract defines them as casual, then that is what they are. Now, if an employee's work pattern reflects a continued leave of rostered employment, the employee could be entitled to be treated as a permanent employee, with associated rights such as leave entitlements. Another question that has been raised by the case is whether this decision gives rise to double dipping. If the employee's casual rate already includes a loading to reflect the fact that they are casual and are not entitled to leave, doesn't the employee get the benefit twice if they're subsequently entitled to a payment for unused leave? The court addressed this, noting a critical absence in the Skeen contract which other employers should note. Mr. Skeen was paid an all-in flat rate under his contract of employment, which may well have incorporated a casual loading. However, because Mr. Skeen's contract did not specifically allocate any part of the rate of pay either to a casual loading or as monies paid in lieu of annual leave, the court found that there was no ability to confirm that casual loading was paid, and therefore no ability to set any part off against the unused leave entitlements. This should give all employers pause for thought. Do your casual contracts break out casual loading? Analyse the data from your time and attendance systems to determine casual workers who have at-risk work patterns. 3. Run an analysis over those at-risk casuals to determine potential additional leave liabilities due to the worker, should Workpack versus Skeen be followed, reduced by mitigating factors such as casual loading. Our next topic deals with the extension of portable long service leave. The new Long Service Benefits Portability Act 2018, which cleared the Victorian State Parliament in September, is due to commence on 1 July 2019. The new scheme in Victoria extends the portable long service leave to apply to community services, contract cleaning and security sectors, with some exclusions, such as health and aged care sectors. Under this Act, Victorian workers are given an entitlement to long service leave after working for 7 years in their industry, irrespective of the number of employers they've worked for during that time. A portable long service benefits authority will be set up, which will be responsible for administering the new portable scheme. It will be mandatory for employers to register with the authority, and individual employees are also encouraged to apply for registration on a separate register. To fund the obligation, employers in these industries will be liable to pay a levy each quarter, which is calculated at a rate of up to 3% on ordinary pay for each employee. Long service portability has already been available for the construction industry in Victoria, and in extending this to the cleaning, security and community services industries, Victoria is joining the ACT and, for workers in the contract cleaning industry, New South Wales and Queensland. Employers with a Victorian workforce will need to consider the financial impact of the introduction of this levy, the administrative processes required to administer it, a communication plan for Victorian employees, and registration with the Portable Long Service Benefits Authority in due course. Treasury estimates indicate that approximately $2.8 billion of superannuation entitlements are not being paid by employers each year. The cause of these underpayments are varied. While sometimes they occur because an employer has struggled with cash flow challenges, sometimes the underpayment is an inadvertent oversight, stemming from a miscoded allowance in a payroll setup, a misunderstanding as to whether an allowance qualifies as ordinary time earnings, or failure to pay superannuation to an individual contractor. In May, the government proposed a superannuation guarantee amnesty to encourage employers to review their records and rectify any inadvertent errors. Under the proposal, employers will have the opportunity to rectify any unpaid employee superannuation guarantee without incurring penalties for late payment, the administration component of $20 per employee per unpaid quarter, and further ATO financial penalties. In addition, under the amnesty, these payments will retain corporate tax deductibility. The proposed amnesty is scheduled to run from 23rd of May 2018 to 22 May 2019. And after this time, the ATO has stated that they will strictly enforce the imposition of financial penalties and also reinstate the non-deductibility clause, further encouraging employers to meet their SG obligations. The bill has not yet passed in the Senate. This month, the ALP issued a dissenting report opposing any waiver of penalties for employers who fail to meet their SG obligations. However, the government continues to negotiate with the crossbench, and Parliament next sits in mid-October. We hope to have a resolution to share with you in our October update. In the meantime, employers should consider whether they should undertake pre-work to ensure they are ready for the amnesty if it is passed. This work would include 1. Undertaking a code review to ensure that the payroll setup is correct. 2. Confirming that each allowance which has been coded as not ordinary time earnings is correctly coded. And 3. Reviewing contractor payments to ensure particularly that sole trader contractors providing personal services are also receiving superannuation. For those of you responsible for managing a New Zealand payroll as well as Australian, you should be preparing for the introduction of Payday on 1 April 2019. This is New Zealand's version of our single touch payroll reporting, although with a few important differences. The information required for Payday is employee's full name, IRD number, tax code, employment start and or finish date, gross income and or deductions, date of payday, and the amount of ESCT for each employee. One key difference is that the reporting dates under Payday will vary depending on the size of the organisation. Employers who withheld more than $50,000 of PAYE and ESCT in the prior tax year are required to report employment income within 2 working days. Employers who do not meet that criteria are required to provide information about each payday for payments within the first half of the month by 10 working days after the 15th, and for payments within the second half of the month by 10 working days after month end. Also, unlike STP, where employers are only required to provide a cumulative year-to-date earnings amount, under Payday, employers will provide the amount of payment for each pay period. Inland Revenue has not yet provided information on how they will deal with negative amounts. Finally, no significant update on STP this month, although we continue to hear about clients going through the conversion process and the feedback remains positive. On a lighter note though, we thought we would like to end this month's update with a video from the Tax Office, released this week advertising Single Touch Payroll. Lots of credit to John Shepherd, the STP program lead, and his team for this memorable video. I'll have new payroll updates next month, but in the meantime, if you have any payroll questions, you can find information on our website, pwc.com.au/payroll, or email me at rowan.geddes@pwc.com, or message me via LinkedIn. In the meantime, have a great month.
So tell me about the moment you took the next step.
I feel like you should answer this.
I seem to remember you feeling a little bit nervous about it.
Not nervous. I just wasn't sure exactly how to go about it. I like things how they were and how it was going.
And I did too, but I knew that it was something that we needed to do. And actually, it didn't really change anything major, did it?
No, it didn't. It's just a different way of doing what we're already doing. There's all this talk about taking the next step, and now that we've done it, I don't really think that much about it.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I don't really think about our payroll reporting much, but I'm glad that we took the next step and moved to single touch payroll when we did.
The way you report payroll is changing. Get ready to take the next step. Find out how at ato.gov.au/STP.